Main opposition National Democratic Congress left standing alone with the PPP as 7 other political parties joined the governing NPP to back the Electoral Commission after it presented detailed evidence of the work it has done so far to clean the voters' register.
And we must admit that listening to them today, I'm convinced that they are doing their best.
As major stakeholders, we are happy.
I'm satisfied that at least the IT department had come today to give what I call the underlying IT management of the process.
This engagement alone will really bring confidence to the institution.
We have the latest as the NDC commends the EC but demands more, including a forensic audit of the EC's entire IT system.
And I commend the EC. As they fix them, they have promised to provide the updated version. Look at the register, fix the issues in there, and also audit the very IT systems that allowed these anomalies to occur.
What's next for the NDC plus the historic announcement by the EC chairperson on future IPAC meetings? Stay with us. We have all that coming up. Also, Education Ministry in a make or break meeting with striking teacher unions over non-payment of Tier 2 pension deductions. We have details as hundreds of teachers hit the streets to demand the resolution of unpaid arrears and salary disparities. And later, Ghana faces heightened risk of cocoa smuggling in Ivory Coast as it announces its latest farm gate prices of cocoa surpassing Ghana's rate by 20%. And in business,
let's still stay on the sector because government has rolled out series of measures seeking to compensate farmers that were affected by the recent dry spell that hit parts of the country.
And later in sports,
the Confederation of African Football expected to make a decision on the eligibility of the Accra and Cape Coast Stadium in the coming days ahead of next week's AFCON qualifier against Sudan.
Details of this and more coming up on Newsnight.
You're still listening to Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. I want to take you now to the Electoral Commission where something really significant happened today.
Indeed, Evans, the opposition National Democratic Congress is left standing alone with only the Progressive People's Party backing its calls for a forensic audit of the voters' register and IT systems of the Electoral Commission. 8 registered political parties, including the governing NPP, have all been given thumbs up to the EC after it announced measures it has taken to resolve discrepancies in the voters' register ahead of the crucial 2024 election. It will be recalled that following the admission by the EC that its officers had allegedly illegally transferred votes in Pusiga, the NDC claimed to have identified even more discrepancies to anchor their demand for a forensic audit. In a historic IPAC meeting broadcast live today, Evans, the EC announced raft measures it has taken to clean up the register. Let's listen to Dr. Yawo Forieje of the EC's IC department announce how it fixed some of the challenges identified with the register.
In our minds, we can't see how you can delete somebody by transferring them, because transfers are allowed. So you can't delete somebody by transferring them. I also like to say that the way the voter management system is designed, and indeed ABIS, once you get registered onto the system, we went on further and looked at the transaction history of the particular voter within our database. Like 2020, at 10:19 a.m., at the True Vine Preparatory School, JHS, near Boyman, with polling station number C150704. This gentleman, on the 22nd of October 2020, at 4:35 p.m., registered for special voting and was moved to the Achimota College Police Station, C1502 SPS. That is a special polling station that he registered for. They also gave us 5 voter IDs that they claim had been deleted from the register. So fortunately, the voter IDs were there, so we could search for them. So that's exactly what we did. We searched for them. And so these are the alleged voter IDs. These people, we don't have a record of them having been transferred. And you know why we don't have a record of them having ever been transferred? Because in order for you to be transferred, you have to be a valid voter. If you are not a valid voter, remember the processes that I described to you. You have to go to the polling, to their registration center, be verified biometrically before the transfer can occur. If you don't do that, the transfer doesn't occur. Okay? Now, these individuals that they listed as having been deleted by transfer, there's no record of a transfer for them. What we found out was that these individuals had corrupt biometrics, so they were never in the register in the first place. And therefore, how do they get transferred? About 15,000 unidentified transfer paths. Once again, we are not clear what is meant by an unidentified transfer path, because all the transfers are documented. It's not the Commission's business to understand why somebody wants to transfer their vote, for so long as they are doing it in the proper way. So we do not understand what is meant by unidentified transfer path.
Well, Kweku Asante of our political desk sat through this historic IPAC meeting and joins us in the studio with more. Kweku, the EC admitted that indeed some of the concerns raised by the NDC is actually legitimate. Tell us more about that.
So there are two main ones that the EC is admitting that, listen, these are very germane issues that the NDC actually brought to their attention that they fixed. The first one has to do with Pusiga. The Electoral Commission has assured that that has been fixed, and in fact it is taking certain decisions with its entire system to ensure that it does not recur. In fact, Dr. Yaweji admits that once it happened in Pusiga, it's very possible it will happen somewhere, and so they are trying to fix that. There's a second decision, the second one having to do with missing persons on the register. Persons who are holding ID cards but whose names are not on the register. The EC says they are trying to reach these persons and include them back into the register. But for those they are unable to actually reach by 7 December, they're actually going to create a missing list so that when you go to the polling station and you check the register and your name is not there, they can check the missing list and you'll be there. Dr. Yaweji again.
Transfers that occurred at Pusiga. These were reported to us by the regional director that 38 voters had been illegally transferred from Pusiga. And as I have said, this occurred because the Electoral Commission's own staff took advantage of a vulnerability that was in the system. And that vulnerability was the absence of a liveliness check. And so him, as the narrative goes, in collusion with some other people, used the voter ID card, the picture on the voter ID card, to verify the individuals and do a transfer. We've also now implemented the liveliness check on our voter verification devices, our biometric verification. You can't take somebody's picture, use the BVD to do verification, because now that is firmly built into the BVD as well. So we have plugged that hole. Subsequent to that, all those transfers that have been done have been reversed. So all those transfers that were done illegally have been reversed, and the perpetrators have been dismissed by the commission, and the police continues their investigation into the matter. We have not taken this matter lightly, and so we have not taken this matter lightly at all, because once again, if it's happened somewhere, it is possible that it has happened elsewhere, and therefore we've engaged our service providers, and we are developing tools once again that will go through the system thoroughly.
Well, you have it, the EC admitting that some of the concerns raised by the NDC is actually legitimate. Kweku, the political parties, they officially announced their positions today at that meeting. Tell us.
So there were about 12 registered political parties at this meeting today. In fact, there are about 12 registered political parties today at this meeting, and 10 of them actually officially spoke. We now know that officially 8 registered political parties are against the NDC's call for a forensic audit. Let me run through these political parties. There is the NDP, there is the Ghana Union Movement, there is CPP, there is GFP, that is a Kwiadonko, there is the PNC, there is APC, there is NPP, there is LPG. All these 8 political parties are against the NDC's call for a forensic audit. Let's listen to some of them, in particular those who actually spoke at this event and vented out their spleen against the NDC's position: PNC, APC, CPP, and the NDP.
There's no problem asking for a forensic audit. But the problem here is that we are only holding a provisional voter register. And that allows for correction and allows for updates and that allow us to make suggestions like we are doing now until we get to the final register. It is when we have the final register, then we have problems with it. Of course, we will all agree that yes, we will not go to the election until these problems are resolved. Whether it's coming from the NDC, it's coming from the NPP, it's coming from the APC or any other party. Because we are all part of this game called elections. And we must admit that listening to them today, I'm convinced that they are doing their best. And I'm also convinced that the NDC is convinced that listening to them today, there have been new changes and new development from where it was until today.
Is there any law that makes it illegal for the independent audit to be made? If there is none, then my submission is that I feel that an independent audit will rather boost the credibility and image of the voter register. Because just imagine if an independent auditor comes and says, well, the register is 100% clean. That one, it is not the EC saying it. Because what Dr. Ufori said, the presentation is nice, but it is the EC speaking. So now that there are issues of mistrust and all that has happened, if an independent person comes and confirms that it is clean, I think it will boost the credibility and the trust that we all have. So that is a comment I want you to consider as well.
Madam Chair, and your deputies, I think if I walk out, I will now walk out with broad chest and say the EC has opened for transparency. I know our brothers from the NPP and NDC will also speak to their issues. But this engagement alone will really bring confidence to the institution. Will really show that you and your team has agreed to over 30 million calls. Those, if you have done this meeting without television, without radio, Ghanaians wouldn't have known whether who's speaking the truth and who's not speaking the truth. I therefore, on behalf of my party, we are very grateful for this opportunity given to us.
We all got very alarmed when we heard the NDC coming out with all these figures. And the figures, in our view, were so huge. But quickly, we realized that the CI already has a self-cleansing mechanism embedded in it. And that mechanism, when you go through the mechanism, you realize that it becomes then very difficult that errors will not be corrected at the provisional stage. So after the giving out of the register at the exhibition, we assume that all these errors are supposed to be corrected. And when you go through the proceedings from CI 25 to 27, it is explicit there how these errors can be detected and corrected. I must also admit the frankness of the EC. Where you got it wrong, you admitted that you were wrong, and you did your checks and you have corrected it. This is what we want to see. As major stakeholders, we are happy.
Quickly, let's talk about Ekuyadonko. She backed the EC, but caused a bit of a stir today. Tell us more about that.
Well, yes, Ekuyadonko really did steal the show today. She spoke first in the local language, and we've translated it in what we're about to play. She actually accused the NDC of lying to tarnish the reputation of Madam Jane Mensah.
Nanso so over the court, but I know about trading and the court. That's all money we are saying. Nina Chido, yes, I bet trading. Me, I'm a see where I make a say. Easy can say, will be a funny nipper. I met now a table no, but be a trading will be a funny nipper. Now, you say, a bachelor will be anti me and come once. Maybe the nipper coy. Baby, I was with the nipper coy. Nina Chido, I trading come up. What the book ya the challenge in that can hold the pay can hold. So be a 1 year if you don't watch it, and will be a 1 year gonna and then I'm a person.
We thank God that since she became the EC chair, the NDC has continuously challenged her, even setting traps and taking her to court when the commission was about to begin the voter registration exercise. Yet, they were disgraced. Despite all of this, the EC invited everyone to send representatives to the most recent registration, and I did. Everything went smoothly. So why do you keep harassing her?
When you say I'm in a when you go for a we are day more. We are day more. A bumpire saying I'm going to Santanachi, Quambiaso, 1 year finty, where you are bass ronco, where you nip pass ronco, Me boa baso pro ha is in penny for no penny what bomb baso. I don't know what it is. Many a men can't interview. What's it? Any fed you do what I say. Yeah, we will. And then more years a baby. A more boy. I don't know what trying to us. What baby I don't know. I don't know what is that.
Don't you realize it is God who placed her in that position? No matter what you do, you will not succeed. I pray for her to remain strong and resolute. I commend the entire EC team. Those claiming names are missing are lying. Why are you doing this? Well, Kweku, you're still in the studio. Quite an interesting sound we heard from Ikuadonko. Before the IPAC meeting ended, though, the EC boss was clear that the EC had nothing to hide.
Well, yeah, before we hear from Madam Jean Mensah, listen to Dr. Adodo Maniboama, who first, of course, actually accept that the Electoral Commission has done some good work around the register, but again, they want to see more done.
We are here looking at the evidence that we presented. And we are glad that the EC has accepted 3 out of 5. And where they don't even accept, they try to explain. And that is one of the reasons it is not strategic to provide the Electoral Commission with a full gamut of what we have. And I will explain. And Esofori, the day at the EC corporate office, why were we not told that Esofori had effected a transfer and all the details that we are being? There is the need for a forensic audit of not just the register, which is being fixed. Why not? And I commend the EC. The EC says that after they have fixed all, and I thought per the submissions of the EC on air, we have heard several times, they had already corrected all the things. Go online. You find that the NDC issues have been fixed. But we do admit, we don't want to be linguistic purists. We do admit that maybe it was an exaggeration. As they fix them, they have promised to provide the updated version. We came here with a hard drive. If the updated version is already, why not? We will pick it and still analyze, take it through the very analysis that we did.
Well, Dr. Maniboama again is now, they are broadening the scope of the demand they are making of this. They've been making this, but they've been reiterating this at this IPAC meeting. Not only do they want a forensic audit of the voters register, they want the EC's entire IT system to be audited, because they say that if you fix the challenges like the EC is doing now and there's still a corrupt IT system, by the time it's November or close to election, these same challenges can recur.
When your roof is leaking, you can decide to mop, keep mopping, and keep mopping. Or you can decide to fix the leakage and mop. What we see here is mopping and mopping and mopping. Fixing the leakage is missing. And this is at the heart of our altruistic demand for a forensic audit. This forensic audit is not just about the register. When you have fixed the register as a result of our revelations, some aftermath fixing is providing a semblance of we are fixing it. When you fix it, and we all look at the hard copies, and we are all giving the PVR, the soft copies. In November, if the very criminals that got us here are still there, engaged in illegal transfers, we will come back to square one. And that time, it will be too close to the December 7 elections. We need to adopt a dichotomous approach. Look at the register, fix the issues in there, and also audit the very IT systems that allowed these anomalies to occur.
Cool. Finally, the EC now says all subsequent IPAC meeting will be broadcast live, and that's good for us, isn't it?
Well, yes, in fact, today, the first time cameras were allowed into this room, IPAC meeting, we got to know the kind of conversations that goes on in there. Madam Jean Mensah is assuring that between now and the election, and even beyond, they are going to make sure that all such meetings, IPAC and other crucial meetings that the Electoral Commission will be holding, is going to be beamed live to the entire nation to watch, because they are very much interested in transparency.
As part of the Commission's efforts to ensure transparency and accountability in all its processes, we have decided that this meeting and all subsequent IPAC meetings will be covered by the media. It is important to note at the very onset of today's meeting that we have made significant progress towards cleaning the provisional voters register and ridding it of discrepancies since it was first exhibited in all 40,000 plus exhibition centers across the country. Over the last few weeks, the Commission has employed tried and tested legal and administrative processes to clean the provisional register and rid it of discrepancies as envisaged by the framers of the 1992 Constitution and CI 91 as amended by CI 126.
Chairperson of the Electoral Commission there, Madam Jean Mensah. I'll be hearing from the NDC pretty shortly. We'll also hear from civil society groups represented today now that they've had the Electoral Commission's evidence of what they've done to try and deal with the challenges with the register. Are they happy with what they've had, considering that 8 of the 10 political parties represented today all backed the Electoral Commission's position, leaving the NDC and the PPP standing alone on this particular subject? We'll hear your thoughts after business. Hello, George.
Hi, Evans. And coming up in business, government begins rolling out measures seeking to compensate farmers and the general public affected by the recent dry spell that hit parts of the country. An energy expert, Dr. Yusuf Suleiman, describes recent appraisal works on the Afina well as a major turnaround for Ghana's oil industry. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery Centers Thanks and President Herbal and Charcoal. You're welcome back to business on Newsnight. Now, government has started rolling out a series of measures seeking to compensate farmers affected by the recent dry spell that hit parts of the country. Now, some of them include farm inputs, credit system, and an effective grain supply system. In the coming days, there'll be rollout for these farmers as well as food grant support. The Agric Minister, Dr. Brian Champon, disclosed this during a media engagement earlier today.
To restore our food system and bridge the grain loss gap, we have this morning commenced the distribution of 118,000 metric tons of fertilizers and 5,133 metric tons of seeds to 800,000 smallholder farmers nationwide. The idea is to supply these inputs to farmers in the southern sector and the northern sector, because the raining season or the planting season for the southern sector just about started. 10th of October 2024, working through various poultry farmer associations nationwide, poultry farmers will be supported with feed and vaccines.
Agric Minister Dr. Brian Champon. Now, energy expert Dr. Yusuf Suleiman has described fresh works being carried out on the Afina oil well as a major turnaround for the country's oil industry. Exploration firm Springfield has announced that it will commence appraisal works on the Afina well around the Sankofa oil area. Now, Dr. Suleiman says that this initiative by Springfield could aid in fresh commercial oil production from that field in the coming months.
I think that is hugely several perspectives. I mean, for Ghana as a whole, for Springfield as a company, and even for ENI, unitization is a difficult thing, and you can't solve it within a twinkle of an eye. It requires credible data, and we should encourage Springfield to undergo such an exercise, because assuming the two fields are actually, not communicating, first of all, it will give ENI the opportunity to have peace of mind to go about their business. Since 2017, ENI has not done any investment, and the reason being that they were not sure of what's going on, whether the field belongs to them or at the end of the day, whether it doesn't belong to them.
Energy expert Dr. Yusuf Suleiman. Now, mining expert and chairman of the opposition National Democratic Congress Manifesto Committee on Mining, Dr. Tony Obeng, has expressed confidence that Ghana could get more benefits from natural resources. Now, speaking at the civil society organization meeting with political parties on energy and the extractive sector, Dr. Obeng suggested that the current system is outmoded, hence the need for a review.
Occurrences of minerals around us, which is also, I don't know whether it's a curse or it's a blessing, but we don't know the relative quantities, relative locations, and as a country we need to know. It is with that we can actually negotiate better deals for concessioning these resources. So we need to even map them. In the manifesto, I think there's a team actively working on implementation plan already, as Kwame said. And so the specifics are there. I know some of the draft, we put specifics there, but we're taking out because that should be part of implementation plan.
Mining expert and chairman of the opposition National Democratic Congress Manifesto Committee on Mining, Dr. Tony Obeng. Australia's High Commissioner to Ghana, Bernice Owen-Jones, has underscored the importance of security for mining companies operating in Ghana to prevent extremists from invading their areas. He believes that this is one of the surest measures to deal with the challenges facing the sector in the country. She made the call at the opening ceremony of the West African Mining Security Conference held in Accra today.
The West Africa Mining Security Conference is taking place today. It's the 4th edition. It's hosted by the Australian High Commission. It is now, I would say, an international conference, and it provides a forum to share best security practices and contingency planning.
Australia's High Commissioner to Ghana, Bernice Owen-Jones. Now, Petrosol Ghana has reiterated its commitment to ensure the delivery of quality petroleum products to consumers. Speaking to Joy Business, Chief Executive of Petrosol, Michael Bosenbo, noted that the company will continue to deliver quality products and services to its consumers. He spoke to other Petrosol Ghana Energizing Dreams promotion, which is aimed at resolving or rewarding patrons with amazing prices after the purchase of fuel products from the 1st of October to the 1st of March 2025.
As we celebrate our 10th anniversary, we thought that it is important that we appreciate our customers. We show gratitude. And so this promo is intended to energize our customers. We are saying energize because we know that we are in a very challenging time because of high cost of living. And so this is the time as a brand that we too should get close to our customers and support them.
Michael Bosenbo is the Chief Executive of Petrosol Ghana.
And George, thank you very much. And Mr. Cranton is here with sports.
Let's go straight into the stories. And the Confederation of African Football is expected to make a decision on the eligibility of the Accra and Cape Coast Stadia in the coming days ahead of next week's AFCON qualifier against Sudan. Ghana looks set to host Sudan away from home after CAF had earlier withdrawn approval from the Baba Yara Stadium, leaving Ghana without a single standard stadium to host Category C games. However, CAF inspectors were in Ghana over the weekend to inspect both the Accra and Cape Coast Stadia at the request of the Sports Ministry, and Joy Sports sources confirmed the game will now be hosted in Ghana. Away from that, there will be UEFA Champions League Match Day 2 live commentary on Hits 103.9 FM from 7 p.m. Featured game is between Arsenal and PSG. Thomas Partey starts that game for Arsenal. That's all for sports. Back to you, Evans.
Thank you very much, Cranting, for that. And we've been talking a lot today about the Electoral Commission's meeting with the political parties at IPAC, the historic meeting that allowed for live coverage. As we know, the NDC today sat through the presentation by the Electoral Commission. They presented their evidence. I want to bring in Tanko Rashid Computer. He is the Deputy Director of Elections with the party. He joins us on the line right now. Tell me, you've seen the evidence provided by the Electoral Commission today as to what they've done to fix the issues with the register. What next for the NDC, though?
Very well. Let me say good evening to your cherished listeners. We would be issuing a statement any moment from now about our next line of action. It won't be long. You would have the statement. But to just put it bluntly, we stand vindicated after the presentation by the Electoral Commission IT director or consultant, they want to call him, for having admitted to almost all the grievances that we got from the provisional register. And clearly, they demonstrated that all that they have done clearly was based on what the NDC has been talking about, and that they have taken time to correct that. And because of that, they are going to do what is called a re-exhibition. Of course, we asked of that. We talked about the re-exhibition of the register. We've also talked about the issue of their IT system, of which today they also agree that their IT system is vulnerable and is susceptible to all manner of attack from within and without. And so all these things put together will say that the NDC stands vindicated, and we will follow up with the provisional register as they indicated will be given to political parties.
So you're happy?
We are not saying we are happy. The issue is that we want the right thing to be done. And that we are saying that all that they have done until we get hold of the supposed new revised provisional register, for us to restudy it and be sure that whatever they are saying in there, that's one leg of it. The second leg is the IT system, of which we will pursue an agenda of investigation to find out the root cause of all that problems, which the IT director admitted.
Okay, and we've heard that today. We're waiting for that statement from the NDC. Dr. Tanko Rashid, thank you very much. And Fosti, the National Science and Maths Quiz is back.
Indeed, it is back, and 157 schools are gearing up to battle it out for academic glory at the 31st edition of the National Science and Maths Quiz Competition, Evans, as it heads to the Central Region for the first time. Well, speaking at the launch, Managing Director of Primetime Limited, Nanaikya Mensah, revealed that this year's contest has the highest number of participating schools ever, making it a fine brain fest of epic proportions.
That we've ever had at the National Championship.
Wow.
157 schools at the National Championship. That's a whole lot. That's a lot. Accra Girls has qualified this time. They haven't been at the National Championships for a while, maybe about 8 years or something like that. And Fantaman also is back.
Fantaman is back. St. Thomas Aquinas is back. St. Roses is back. You went to St. Roses, did you know that, Dobia? Faustina is with me. Faustina, which school is it?
Government Day Secondary School.
What?
Government Day Secondary School.
What? Government Day Secondary School.
Yes.
Where's that?
That's in Abuja, Nigeria.
Oh, you're making this up.
No. I'm actually serious.
Government Day Secondary School.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that one of the good schools or so?
Well, it's Saito, but we had 5 brains
Saito
there.
in Nigeria. Oh, my goodness. Arivia is joining us right now with Geek Squad. What are you talking about tonight?
Well, tonight, in this day and age, we see a lot happening on social media. We want to check how we can verify some of the information that we see, because a lot of things are misleading and misinforming. So we are going to see how we can combat that. And it's also the month of October, and it's Cyber Security Awareness Month. And so we want to use this opportunity just to let our listeners be educated to know how they can just verify information that they see online.
And we want to stay with the behind the team on behalf of the Government Day School girl and myself, Evans Mensah. Enjoy the rest of your evening.